Yo, it's that Mob Talk Radio. You already know. Jeff Canarski in the house. Let's go. Lights dim, mic on, just voice in the air, telling tales of the mob. Like we were there, late night sessions. Secrets we uncover from the legend in the shadows to the unsung bro. Every broadcast a lesson, a glimpse of the cold. From the underworld stories that have been told. Mob talk, get real, just bringing up the heat from the streets to right. We ain't never miss a beat. Listen close, cause know this game ain't fake and sweet. Mob talk, Jeff Canarski, we control the seat. Mob talk, get real, just bring up the heat from the streets to right. We ain't never miss a beat. Listen close, cause know this game ain't fake and sweet. Mob talk, Jeff Canarski, we control the seat. Tune every week. Jeff talking about the life deep inside. From the dorms to the trails, like secret they confide. Stories of the streets, no respect's a heavy price. This is Mob Talk Radio, made that you be advised. Echoes from the shadows, the truth they don't deny. Chef's here with the tails from the corners to the sky. Underworld whispers, angel stories day to life. Through the eyes of legends, you see the struggle and the strife. With his golden mic in hand, he paints the picture clear. The rise and fall of empires, the power and the fear. With the golden mic in hand, he paints the picture clear. The rise and fall of empires, the power and the fear. Mob talk, get real, just bringing up the heat from the streets to right. We ain't never miss a beat. Listen close, cause know this game ain't fake and sweet. Mob talk, Jeff Canarski, we control the seat. Mob talk, get real, just bring up the heat from the streets to right. We ain't never miss a beat. Listen close, cause know this game ain't fake and sweet. Mob talk, Jeff Canarski, we control the seat. Tune in every week. Jeff talk about the life deep inside. From the dorms to the trails, like secret they confide.
I'm going to tell you something. If you don't ever bother me again, the rest of my life, I ain't giving them attention. I can't. There's good friends of mine out on the say. Well, he's the boss, you have to do his stuff. That's why I said to you before, you don't understand what the boss is. The boss is your boss.
And welcome to Mob Talk Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Canarski. And for those of you that have been following on the podcast, we were talking essentially about this ILA stuff that was going on for the last few weeks. Obviously, the strike did not last as long as a lot of people suspected, but the guy behind the scenes here has a pretty interesting past. As you can see over there on the right-hand side, ILA president allegedly tied to a Mafia murder, and that seems to be the case. A lot of people have said that the mob does not control any unions anymore, and that is just total nonsense. Just like Dave said, the mob doesn't kill anybody anymore, which is also total nonsense. So like I said, over on the podcast, we spoke really about the situation and the pending and then sort of the active strike that came sort of with that. It didn't last but a few days, but the ILA struck a wage increase of 60% However, the bigger story here is of Harold Daggett, and that's the guy that you see on the screen there. He is the president of the ILA. And news outlets were basically giving him a bunch of grief because he lives in a fucking like 8,000 square foot house, has a 75-foot yacht, drives a Bentley, and he's bitching about money, but he's making like $1 million a year. What people do not know is his connection with the Genovese Crime Family, which has traditionally owned the ILA for all intent and purposes. What else you may not know is that Daggett was indicted for racketeering in 2005. However, a co-defendant in that case, who was likely to become a witness, suddenly disappeared mid-trial. The government would fail to secure a conviction against Daggett. However, Larry Ricci, who was a Genovese captain, suddenly disappeared mid-trial. Weeks later, they would find his body in the trunk of a car outside of the Huck Finn Diner in Union, New Jersey, 20 miles outside here of New York City. And it was, in fact, a mob hit. So everybody that tells you, oh, the mob hasn't killed anybody since like 2000. No, 2001, they did it. But that's sort of what a lot of people don't know about the situation. They, like I said, would find his body in the trunk of a car. And it was, in fact, a mob hit and likely ordered by the Genovese crime family to keep him quiet. In Daggett's 2005 case, the feds alleged that Daggett had ties with the Genovese crime family going back to the year 2000. And it's worth noting that this specific union for over 30 years has been accused of handing out no-show jobs to mobster relatives and were providing massive kickbacks to the Genovese crime family. In exchange for those union contracts, the mob protected the careers and the salaries of corrupt ILA officials. Stupidly, after the 2005 racketeering case, Daggett literally spoke to the Fox News, and he said that Ricci probably lost his life because people thought that everybody was going to be guilty. And then he follows that up with, there was no way the verdict could be guilty. Probably not the brightest thing he's ever said, but while nobody's ever been charged with Larry Ricci's death, federal investigators say that they overheard on wiretaps a New Jersey-based Genovese gangster discussing the retrieval of a murder weapon with his son. That man on the wiretap was Michael Coppola, who ended up getting sent to prison later under another RICO case, which involved ILA kickbacks, identity fraud, and the 1977 murder of a man named Johnny Cokes Lardiere. Daggett, who became president in 2011, owns a yacht, a Bentley, lives in a sprawling mansion in Sparta, New Jersey, and brought home over $900,000 last year in union pay. He made $728,000 for being the union president and took home another $173,000 for his past role in Local 1804-1. The FBI has officially named Daggett an associate of the Genovese crime family and was able to acquire the position with the help of the Genovese crime family. In 2005, a wiretap also picked up Genovese Captain George Barone discussing an ILA change. John Bowers, who at the time was an aging ILA president, was considering stepping down. Barone would explain to Bowers that if he is going to step down, they wanted Harold Daggett to replace him. Barone would ultimately become an informant and would cooperate with the FBI after it was alleged that Vinny the Chin Gigante had marked him for death. And the reason for Vinny the Chin wanting him dead was the fact that he treated his son, Andrew Gigante, like shit. According to various reports, Daggett was the man the Genovese crime family wanted in charge all along, and that Daggett would help steer Union's prescription drug contracts to a Genovese-owned company in Newark called GPP VIP. Barone would go on to testify that the Genovese family put Daggett there to do specifically that, and that Daggett did whatever he was told, and if he refused, he would be removed or killed. What the government could not prove was that Daggett was behind the scenes, in effect, running the ILA with Bowers as the front ILA president. Since 2011, Daggett has made over $9 million in the union. Now, this is nothing new. We've always known that the unions were controlled by the mob. They always have been. They always will be. But what the big thing here is it's alleged that the Genovese used a front boss system for the ILA. Bowers, in name and face, was the head of that union, but that behind the scenes, they were pushing Daggett to make a lot of changes, which is exactly what the FBI tried to prove twice and failed to do. The fact that there was no conviction, I'm not going to say the guy was guilty of it, but I mean, I'm going to call a spade too. You know, this guy's a tough talking guy, but let's just be frank. The ILA we did a union show over on the podcast where we talked about the waterfront. In fact, I think the waterfront is on YouTube. So if you're interested in learning all about how the waterfront operates, the unions, and how the mob sort of does their thing there, go to our videos and scroll down to On the Waterfront. I think it's 3 or 4 shows. We talk about Anthony Scotto and Tony Anastasia and a bunch of other people. And it really breaks down how this works. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and nothing shocks me. Nothing shocks me at all. But what did sort of shock me in sort of looking into this case was I didn't know that somebody had disappeared mid-trial. That to me is a little shocking. That's ballsy, but it also proves that if the mob thinks they have a weak link, they're going to clip somebody 100%. And it's just the way it is. So in my belief, is Daggett an associated guy? I think he is. You can't get that position without lobbying with powerful people to get it. The union itself is very strong, but the Genovese crime family has owned the ILA for fucking decades. So that's not going to change anything. But I wanted to come on here and just kind of share that story because I felt like since we talked about it over on the paid podcast, you guys might find that story kind of interesting. So this is going to be a members only sort of video because I don't want everybody else poaching my information. And for those that are going to come across and say, well, here he is, he's talking about current shit. No, I'm talking about something that happened in 2005. But it's only been amplified because of the 4-day ILA strike. And what they wanted was an 80% raise. And what they ended up getting was a 60% raise. And so Daggett called off the strike until I think about after January to facilitate other sort of means. It's not a shock to me. It shouldn't be a shock to you. We will be starting to do Mob Talk Radio Live, the live shows, which will be members only. This video, which you're seeing now, is not going to be public. It's just for you guys. Maybe what I'll do is I'll leave this private for 2 weeks or so, and then I'll put it public. But I want to make sure that you guys get the members only videos first, and that's what we're going to try to do. Other than that, I just wanted to play this video really quick because in 2.5 weeks, we have a brand new podcast coming out, and I think all of you are going to enjoy it. Now, that podcast is going to be absolutely free, and that podcast is going to be something different. It's not going to be organized crime. It's going to be a bit of everything. And I don't want to put too many spoilers, but there is a special segment of this show because a lot of people seem to like it when I go off, I rant, I start saying crazy shit. So the last 10 minutes of every diner podcast, you'll get this. So there you go. That's what we have coming up. As far as it goes, I will be announcing the live shows coming soon. As you can see, the shitty StreamYard logo up there on the right-hand side. I'm changing the streaming services that I use, so I'm just waiting for all of that to kick in and get kind of the good look that I want to have with it. So all that being said, if you're not a member, or you know people that listen to my show that aren't members, tell them they need to be, because this is where you're going to get a lot of information. And we're going to start moving to a more mainstream current news. Now, when I say that, what it means, I'm not talking about current shit the way that these other apes do it, but I'm going to talk about a little more current stuff in terms of the politics of it all, and some other stuff. Now, the first live we come back, we are going to talk about Joey Merlino, and we are going to talk about some stuff that happened that I just was not willing to talk about before. It's not going to be me trashing the guy. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I'm also going to address where I think Philadelphia stands right now, and all of the things that, all the machinations that happen behind the scenes and things that nobody else can tell you, only me. There's a lot of nonsense out there and a lot of stuff that isn't true. So all that being said, keep it dialed in, reach out to us at mobtalkradioshow@gmail.com. And also, hook us up with some donations. We can always use donations. Also, and I probably should have, the book is coming. The book is 99% done. And we're going to talk about that on the first live too. Anyway, if you're interested in the diner, check us out in about 2 weeks. We'll be live. That's totally free. And just stay safe and enjoy the weekend.